A year ago, Gi-hun participated in a competition known as the Squid Games, in which people in debt play for a huge amount of money. As the winner, Gi-hun received the big prize, but all the other players died. Now Gi-hun is at the airport trying to leave for the USA to reconnect with his daughter. However, after seeing another desperate man being invited to the game, Gi-hun decides to stay and find the people behind the games to bring them down. He receives a call from the person overseeing the games known as the front man, who warns him he'll regret it, but Gi-hun ignores him. On his way back to Seoul, he stops at a store and buys a knife. Then in the bathroom he searches his body until he discovers there's a tracker behind his ear and takes it out. Meanwhile, Detective Jun-ho wakes up without knowing where he is. A year ago he had infiltrated the games to look for his brother In-ho, who turned out to be the front man. In-ho shot Jun-ho and let him fall phone with all the proof of the games in the ocean. He almost got fired for disappearing for many days without a word, but his boss put in a good word for Jun-ho and he only got demoted. In his free time he meets with Captain Park, the man who found his body in the water. Together they're searching every island in the area to find the games again. In the meantime, Gi-hun is hiding in a motel where he's installed tons of security cameras. One night, he finds the front man at the door with 2 human heads, but it's just a nightmare. Later he meets with loan shark Mr. Kim and his assistant Woo-sok, who he's hired to look for the man recruiting new players for the games. So far they haven't found him, so Gi-hun pays them extra money to hire more people and even offers a big reward for whoever catches him. Kim and Woo-sok organize a whole operation by hiring a bunch of gangsters. They share all the clues they have and spread through every subway station, checking any man that barely fits the description. However, there's been no success so far, and Woo-sok is starting to wonder if the story is true. One night while taking a break, the duo finally sees the recruiter playing a slapping game and giving the invitation to Myung-gi. As the recruiter leaves the station, Kim and Woo-sok follow him. The recruiter throws the leftover bread on the ground and starts stomping on them, saying it was the tramps who wasted this food. Kim and Woo-sok record it all and send it to Gi-hun. Downtown, Gi-hun is driving too fast and is pulled over by the police. A rookie takes his personal information before letting him go with a ticket, and when Jun-ho looks at his partner's screen, he recognizes Gi-hun's name from the games. He searches the name in the system and gets an address from a car rental company. At the park, the recruiter leaves, so Kim and Woo-sok follow him into an alley to catch him. However, the recruiter is fast and easily overpowers them both. Moments later, Gi-hun finally arrives and finds some blood and a knife, but not the men. Meanwhile, the recruiter has taken Kim and Woo-sok up to a fancy room and tied them up. He tells them they must play rock paper scissors and the loser will have to play Russian roulette. Each turn, and eventually Mr. Kim is shot in the head. Seeing this, a terrified Woo-sok agrees to talk. In the evening, Jun-ho breaks into the office where Kim organized the operation and finds some paperwork with the motel address. When Gi-hun returns to the motel, the recruiter is waiting for him. He shares that he started as a mere grunt in the games and he had to remove the bodies of the dead players or shoot those who misbehaved. One day he had to take care of a player who turned out to be his father, yet the recruiter didn't hesitate to kill him too. Then the recruiter announces they'll be playing Russian roulette. The gun changes hands over and over with nothing happening for several rounds, but eventually the bullet hits the recruiter and he instantly dies. Gi-hun checks his pockets and finds a black envelope. At that moment, Jun-ho bursts into the hotel and finds Woo-sok in a random room. After freeing him, he keeps searching and finds Gi-hun. When he's about to arrest him, Woo-sok knocks Jun-ho out with a fire extinguisher. Gi-hun checks the card from the envelope, which mentions the club HDH and the date October 31st at midnight. When Jun-ho wakes up, he and Gi-hun share what they know and agree to work together to end the games. Woo-sok wants to help too to avenge Kim. Gi-hun shows them all the money he won and the weapons he's collected so far. There's a hole in the wall that takes them to a back room where they can practice shooting without anyone hearing. At the parking lot of an amusement, however, when Thanos tells a woman that there's a bee on her neck, she freaks out and moves, so she instantly gets shot. Everyone is in shock as the bee flies away and scares another person into moving, so this player gets shot too. This causes lots of people to panic and try to run away, thus No Oil begins shooting them all down from her guard spot. Gi-hun keeps yelling to remind everyone to stay still, but they still lose dozens of players. Now people believe Gi-hun, so he explains the doll can only tell they're moving through sensors and they should hide behind players bigger than them. Whenever they can move, Thanos uses the chance to take some illegal candy that he hid in his necklace. Following Gi-hun's instructions, the group keeps on playing pretty well, although No Oil shoots a woman for trembling. Thanos pushes 3 players on purpose and they get killed too. A few more turns and many deaths later, half the group manages to cross the line. One of the shot players are back in the shared room. They're informed that 91 people were killed and 365 remain. When a bunch of players begin begging for their lives, Gi-hun reminds them they can vote to end the game now. First, the guards fill the piggy bank with the money accumulated so far, which isn't much if they have to divide among so many players. The voting begins and the players have to press a button before they're given a sticker that represents their choice. Seeing that so many people are voting to stay, Gi-hun tries to warn them about the next games and an argument ensues, so he's forced to admit he did this before. Thanos sees this as an advantage because it means Gi-hun can help everyone survive. The guards interrupt the argument and force everyone to keep voting. The numbers reach a tie and only player 001 is left. This man votes to stay, and while half the group celebrates, it's revealed 001 is In-ho, who has joined the game in secret. Later during dinner, the players ask Gi-hun for tips on the next game. He tells them it's Dalgona, a game in which they must carve out a piece of candy without breaking it. Some players want to keep the information for themselves to have an advantage, but Gi-hun promises he'll help everyone equally. In-ho keeps asking Gi-hun why he came back, not understanding the concept of altruism. Meanwhile, Jeom-ja shares her food with Joon-hee because she can tell she's pregnant. Thanos and Nam-gyu keep on bothering Myung-gi until he snares. A lot of them have been deemed unsalvageable because they've been shot a second time, which isn't supposed to happen. They realize No Oil did that, so she's taken to see the officer, who is overseeing things while In-ho is in the game. The officer met No Oil 7 years ago when she was a rebel fighting in North Korea and hired her for the games in exchange for finding her child. He yells at her for breaking the rules, but No Oil doesn't care and just walks away. In Seoul, Joon-ho tries to get help from the police, but they still refuse to do anything without evidence. He tells Woo-sok and the thugs to keep searching the islands in the area, however Park says they'll have to wait to sail again because of the bad weather. The next day, Thanos continues to secretly take his happy candy. Joon-hee approaches Myung-gi to tell him she's keeping the baby, which goes against what they agreed on. The argument is interrupted when the second game is announced not anymore, so he ends up in a team with In-ho, Young-bae, Dae-ho, and Joon-hee. The game is six-legged pentathlon and each team will have all their legs tied together. They'll take turns playing a minigame at every 10-meter mark, and if they win, the team can move to the next one. There are 5 games and 5 minutes to finish them all. After the teams choose which player will play each game, the guards tie their ankles together. While the first 2 teams start playing, the waiting teams watch them to learn some strategies. Dae-ho watches a seize deal with some pieces and begins practicing with some stones from the ground. When a team fails at a game, they're allowed to start over as many times as necessary, but it loses a lot of time. This makes them more scared and nervous, causing them to make even more mistakes. Instead of paying attention, Nam-gyu asks Thanos to share his happy candy. When the first round ends, both teams fail to finish the games and all 10 players are shot in the spot. More guards arrive to take the bodies away in coffins, but No Oil always makes sure to shoot them again. The next team to play is Jeom-ja's. Young-mi is very nervous and keeps losing the first game, but Yoon-ju gently calms her down and she manages to win. Young-sik misses the first rock throw, but nails the second. Jeom-ja plays with the little pieces and makes a small mistake, however she quickly recovers and wins thanks to her son's support. As the crowd cheers for them, the 5th team member gets too nervous because she sees the blood on the ground and she can't get the spinning top ready after many tries. Yoon-ju slaps her a couple of times and threatens her until she concentrates, which helps her use the spinning top correctly. Lastly, Yoon-ju has to kick a pom-pom 5 times and pulls it off on her first try, so the team wins the challenge just in time. The teams keep playing with various degrees of success. Most of them P-huns. Joon-hee starts by winning on her first try, and Young-bae does the rock toss on his first try too. Thanks to his practice, Dae-ho is also successful without missing. Unfortunately, In-ho keeps missing the spinning top and starts freaking out, so Gi-hun has to calm him down. Thanks to that support, In-ho finally wins the game. With only a few seconds left, Gi-hun begins kicking the pom-pom and almost misses, but In-ho helps him move and the team successfully finishes the challenge. The other team doesn't make it and they're killed. When the players return to the room, Yoon-ju shares with her team that she needs the money to pay for the operation to finish her transition. Nobody is happy to see that Gi-hun has made it. His team decides to do proper introductions, and In-ho uses a fake name. Meanwhile, 2 guards push No Oil into her room and scold her for ruining the bodies. She tries defending herself, but there are 2 of them and they have a knife, so they overpower her. As they cut her cheek, they tell her this is the last warning. If she messes with the bodies again, they'll cut her fingers. Afterward, the guards go to the players' room to add the money to the piggy bank and announce 110 players died during the last game, which means 255 are left. Now it's time to vote, and Jin-hun's team including In-ho agrees to choose to stop. Young-sik ignores his mother's worries and chooses to continue. The votes are looking like a tie. Extra food for the baby. In the bathroom, Thanos' team is harassing Myung-gi because he chose to leave, but when they're about to fight, In-ho comes in and Thanos leaves in fear. The mood in the entire room is tense and everyone is wary, so Gi-hun tells his team to sleep under the beds and take turns keeping watch in case of an attack. In the middle of the night, Jeom-ja needs to go to the bathroom and tells her son not to worry because she has a knife hidden in her hair. The guards tell her nobody can come in or out at this hour, but she cries and begs until she's allowed to go. The next morning, Joon-ho divides his team into 2 groups to keep searching all the islands in the area. At the facility, the players are taken to a room that looks like a carousel for the 3rd game. It's called Mingle and they have to step on the platform, which will start rotating. When they hear a number, the players must form groups of that size and go into rooms in just 30 seconds to play. The first number is 10 and people immediately panic as they grab whoever is closer and run to the doors. When time runs out, the few players that stayed behind are immediately killed. After the bodies are taken away, the platform spins again and the chosen number is 4. Players panic again and the teams of 5 from the previous game have no choice but to split. Most people manage to find enough partners to run to the doors. There's one group that only brings 3 people. After time runs out, the guards shoot the players left on the platform but also the team that got the wrong number. This time No Oil doesn't shoot the bodies more than once and follows protocol correctly. For the next round, the number is 3. People freak out again and the mood is tense because many players are offended after the split from last time. Young-sik is dragged away by 2 guys, so Jeom-ja ends up in a room with In-ho and Gi-hun. A manipulative In-ho asks seemingly innocent questions about Young-sik to make it look like he abandoned his mother, planting the seed of doubt in her mind although she defends him. After the losers get killed, Jeom-ja reunites with her crying son with a tight hug. The following number is 6. The teams are formed pretty quickly but as they hurl in charge. His plan is to wait for the fight in the room to start and try to take the guns from the guards using the element of surprise. Meanwhile, Nam-gyu has stolen Thanos' necklace and is taking too many happy candies. He also reveals he has the fork. He takes pity on Myung-gi and tells him to hide when the fight starts. As soon as the lights go out, Gi-hun and his close friends hide under the beds. The other team attacks and soon people are dying all over the place. Because of the darkness, sometimes they don't even know whose team the victim is on. Still in Thanos' neck, other players grab it and use it to kill too. The fight also breaks a mirror, providing them with shards to do more killing. 2 guards outside hear what's going on but do nothing. Soon 5 deaths are announced in the main room and the money is added to the piggy bank. The men from the bathroom come back and start accusing each other of starting the fight to make the other team look bad. As they begin arguing again, they count the stickers and notice that the team that wants to leave now has more people. The tense moment is interrupted when the guards send them all to bed. On the ship, one of the thugs discovers Park messing with the drone, so Park quickly stabs him and throws him into the water. When a man comes over to check on the noise, Park pretends it was a wave hitting some boxes. Back in the facility, the guards are told to get ready for a special game. Gi-hun thinks the other team will attack them during the night and In-ho believes they should attack first, but Gi-hun disagrees as needed to avoid more deaths in the future. Min-soo throws some glass to try to kill Nam-gyu, but his aim fails and Nam-gyu uses the shard to kill more people. Eventually the lights are turned on and the guards come into the room to stop the fight. Gi-hun and his team pretend to be dead and when the guards try to check on them, they pounce on them to steal their guns. The players immediately open fire and kill half of the guards while the other half hides behind some beds to shoot back. The more guards are killed, the more guns the players can steal. Noticing this, the officer tells the remaining guards to leave the room and the door is locked. One guard accidentally stays behind and is taken hostage. Then one of the armed players wants to shoot at all advanced weapons, since she used to be a sergeant in the special forces. Afterward the team forces the hostage to guide them to the admin office. When they reach the colorful stairs, they're ambushed by more soldiers who immediately open fire. A shootout ensues and the team quickly brings down all the guards without much trouble. After destroying the cameras here too, they keep moving while gathering bullets from the fallen soldiers on the way. When they are about to reach the admin door, more guards appear and open fire again, quickly killing the hostage. As another gunfight begins, Gi-hun and Young-bae decide to move ahead and search for the boss while the rest of the team buys them time. The duo opens every door in the corridor and they all appear blocked. Then Gi-hun notices a sensor on the wall and puts up a soldier mask, which opens a wall into another corridor. They encounter more guards on the way, so they use the mask to trick them and shoot them down only for more. Gi-hun and Young-bae call them to tell them they're stuck with soldiers too, so In-ho and 2 guys run to help them. Dae-ho volunteers to look for more bodies to get more ammo. Meanwhile Gi-hun takes a risk and goes closer to the bodies to steal some bullets, rolling out of the way with only a graze on his arm. At that moment In-ho arrives with the 2 men and tells Gi-hun he's found an alternate entrance to the office, but he needs the duo to keep the guards distracted. Gi-hun agrees and gives him his last ammo, thinking Dae-ho will arrive soon with more. In the room, Dae-ho gathers all the ammo he can find in the dead bodies with the help of the others. However, on his way out, he hears all the shooting and gets scared, so he hears the radio and decides to go investigate. Once In-ho is alone with the 2 men in the hallway, he waits for them to turn around and kills them both. Then he calls Gi-hun on the radio and pretends they were all shot, using the dying noises of his teammates to make it look like he's dead too. He also calls his men to order them to wrap things up. In the main room, Yoon-ju gets all the ammo from Dae-ho, but before she can leave a bunch of guards arrive. She wants to fight them, however Jeom-ja convinces her to stay hidden since she can't win alone. In the main corridor, one of the team members decides to self-delete with his last bullet. The other 2 surrender, but the guards kill them anyway. Hearing all this on the radio, Gi-hun and Young-bae surrender as well. In-ho appears wearing the frontman mask again and tells Gi-hun these are the consequences of playing hero before he shoots Young-bae in the head. Gi-hun freaks out over the loss of his friend so the guards have to hold him down. Sometime later, the remaining players are playing red light green light with 2 dolls this time.